Okay, I'm taping this year, Motzei Shabbos, Shabbos Chazoin, Shnas Tovshin Peivav, and I'd like to talk now in the halach and yamim of dinim that are nogeya more Motzei Tisha B'Av, halachas of Motzei Tisha B'Av, and the specialty of this Motzei Tisha B'Av being that it falls out on Thursday. And being that it falls on Thursday, it could be different because it might be allowed things that normally would be allowed to do at night, yes, to do at night because of what we call Kavod Shabbos, that Shabbos is coming right away because it's already Erev Shabbos, Leil Shishi. In the end, I'd like to talk about Divrei Agoda, Nogeya, Inyanim Diyuma, Inyanim that are shayach to the Chorban Abayis, the Nechama that comes with the Chorban Abayis, and that will be Messiah. Now, the first halacha that's very nogeya is after we daven Ma'ariv. There's a minhag in Am Yisrael to push off doing Kiddush Levana until Motzei Tisha B'Av. The Mekor Devarim is the Ramah. The Ramah says that there is manin that we don't go ahead and say Kiddush Levana because Kiddush Levana has a special night, should be done b'simcha, simcha meruba, and therefore there are two zmanim that we do not say. We did not do say Kiddush Levana. One is the minhag the Ramah brings out during Tishrei until after Yom Kippur, Motzei Yom Kippur, and also during Chodesh Av until after Tisha B'Av. On Yom Kippur, the Ramah says to do it Motzei Yom Kippur. On Tisha B'Av, the Ramah says not even to do Motzei Tisha B'Av. I guess we're still sour a little bit. We should push it up to another day. Most of the Achrayim argue with the Ramah, and that's how the Mishnah Berurah brings down. And say also by Tisha B'Av, just like on Motzei Yom Kippur you do though, din on Motzei Tisha B'Av, you can go ahead and say Kiddush Levana. Just what? There is a chiluk in din between Kiddush Levana, the Kiddush Levana of Motzei Tisha B'Av and Motzei Yom Kippur. On Motzei Yom Kippur, you're allowed to do right after davening, even if you're still b'tzoyim, you have yet to break the fast. The simcha of Kapparas Avonos, we hold that we have enough simcha. And this is what the Mishnah Berurah brings out from the bigdei Achronim. This is Mofi in the Shulchan Aruch and Arachayim, Siman Tov Chav Vav. In Siman Tov Chav Vav, this halacha is brought down. And therefore, this is, like we said, that on Motzei Yom Kippur, we allow you to do it even without nalayim. We're allowed to go ahead and say Kiddush Levana. But on Motzei Tisha B'Av, the many poskim hold that a person should not do it on an empty stomach while he's still fasting. He should first eat and then do Kiddush Levana. But if the tzibur is doing it beforehand, then we say that you can go ahead and even do it, even say Kiddush Levana with the tzibur, even though you're still fasting. And there is a makom l'chakol bazeh to go ahead and still say Kiddush Levana. But the Mishnah Berurah brings that this is in the Mishnah Berurah in, like I said, Siman Tov Chav Vav, Siv Katan, Yud Aleph. But Belina Alayim, this is what the Pri V'Chodesh shows, Belina Alayim, without wearing proper shoes, then the Mishnah Berurah is machmir. You have to have proper shoes on, not to be with what you wear normally on Tisha B'Av. And Belin Alayim, there's a problem to go ahead and say it, and the poskim say who it did that you should say better to say bechidus than to go ahead and say Belin Alayim. Many poskim hold that only applies bisman that you didn't wear nalayim, or at the most you wear slippers, something that you wouldn't daven with. But nowadays most people wear something nicer, something they would even daven with. They might wear shoes that are not made out of leather, whether it's made out of a different material, sneakers, but things that aren't leather, but it's something you would wear during the week. So if it's something you wear during the week, then there's no bizayim or a lack of covered or chashivas of the Kiddush Levana we're making by going ahead and doing it without nalayim. So many poskim say that bismanenu, that inyan of min'al is not really nogeya so much. And that's what I would say is nohug, is that if you have a tzibur that are saying it miyad, you say with them and you wear that what you're wearing, but you should make sure that you're not wearing slippers, you're just wearing your socks. You should have something nicer on, what they call nalei bad, some type of shoes with material or sneakers, at least that, to be able to go ahead and say the Kiddush Levana. By me and my shul, I have a shul here in Har Nof. There we have a lot of people from the building down in the shul to basement. Shul that's in our basement in the building. So we finish davening at a certain time. About 15 minutes later, after say Satzon, we get together and we say outside. So the time is over 8:20. By the time we finish davening, then we about 9:10 we go outside and we say Kiddush Levana after we broke our fast and we ate something. We have normal shoes to wear. That's what we're noyeg, and there's a good reason for that. Then there's another interesting thing that's brought down in the Siddur Hayayvit from Yaakov Emden in the Piskei Halachos in the Siddur. So he says that you should put on begodim noim. Should put on begodim noim. So is that an inyan? Is that what we're supposed to do? So the truth is that Rav Yaakov Emden is lefishi tasoi. He holds that on Tisha B'Av you should wear begodim bluyim and gruim, worn out clothes, not quality clothes. The opposite, not quality. Worn out and not good clothes. So then he says, but to do Kiddush Levana, you don't do in those clothes. Kiddush Levana you do in quality clothes. So then you have to go ahead, according to the going Yavit, or Yaakov Emden, you have to go ahead and put on begodim noim. But, and I got b'shem a sefer that Rav Moshe, the new sefer that came out, Ziknecha Yoymulucha, sefer from Hagoyin Rav Chaim Mintz, Mashkiach in the Staten Island Yeshiva, says b'shem Rav Moshe wore begodim guyim, begodim bluyim, worn out old clothes, like the Siddur Rabbi Yaakov Emden. He doesn't write what Rav Moshe did legave Kiddush Levana, but I'll call upon him. That's what he wore on the Tisha B'Av. So therefore, that's the way Yaakov Emden said. But if you're just wearing your regular weekday clothes, not worn out, brick clothes, worn out clothes, or bad clothes, regular weekday clothes, so then you don't have to switch your clothes to say Kiddush Levana. If you normally wear bigdei Shabbos, not because you just do Motzei Shabbos, but you do b'dati, you want to wear bigdei Shabbos, and those who are makbid. Kiddush Levana is a very special inyan. The Ramah is medamet to simchas nesuyin. The Ramah in the beginning of Siman Tov Chavav. We'll talk in a second. That's why he says that there's inyan rikudim. There's a certain relations that we have with Kiddush Baruch Hu, that bedunya, the areach, with the chama, and therefore it has a bechina of a simchas nesuyin that we are royked on also. So there are those people who wear bigdei Shabbos. I saw in the posting, I saw from Sternbach, I think others, that if you normally wear bigdei Shabbos, you can definitely wear bigdei Shabbos also for Kiddush Levana, put on bigdei Shabbos. But if you don't normally wear bigdei Shabbos, not bedafka bigdei Shabbos, and most people aren't, for Kiddush Levana, then emachanami, you would not put bigdei Shabbos on, because we don't wear bigdei Shabbos stam during the 9 days. And who din, Motzei Tisha B'Av, until Chatzos, we'll talk soon, has dinim like shavua shechal Tisha B'Av, and it might even have dinim al pi the marshal, like from Rosh Chodesh Av until Tisha B'Av, and we don't wear Shabbos clothes then. So therefore, if you normally would put Shabbos clothes on for Kiddush Levana, fine. If you're not dafka makbid on that, which is most people aren't, then you would not put on bigdei Shabbos, but to be royked. So to be royked on Kiddush Levana, Kenu Aminig and Aniso, that's brought down in the Ramah, the chashivas of the rachitzah that were royked after Kiddush Levana. So I saw Moshe Sternbach in a tshuva from him, in Tshuva's Hanhava, says beferish, the minig is yes, the din is that it's roy lirkod. It's no worse than any sudas mitzvah that would be mutter lirkod if that's a chelik of the mitzvah, and this is a chelik of the mitzvah. So he says definitely when you make Kiddush Levana to be royked, but he says that would only be if you do Kiddush Levana like the Ramah on Motzei Tisha B'Av. There are those who do Kiddush Levana during Chodesh Av, before it comes Tisha B'Av. That's the minig of the Garin, the Gra. Ein machmitzim es ha-mitzvah. This svara of Simcha is not a reason not to do it, and therefore, according to the Gra, you do it during the 9 days. There, Moshe Shama says it's not minaroi to go be royked. It's a lot more chomer, the dinim, avelus, it's not during the 9 days than they are like I said, on Motzei Tisha B'Av. It's only a mini kosher that we're machmir, not as ikra. Okay, That's probably the dinim of Kiddush Levana. Then we have the regular dinim that we talk about during the 9 days. The 9 days, meikel hadin starts like this. From meikel din of the Gemara, from Rosh Chodesh until Tisha B'Av, you're memat and besimcha, the always saying binyan shel simcha, netiyah shel simcha, which might be working on building things, fixing things in the house, and also maso mat more mematim boy, and that we don't do from Rosh Chodesh. The meikel din of the Gemara, we're not istaper mechabes from shechal boy Tisha B'Av, which is start from Motzei Shabbos that we call that would start the iser the istaper lechabes. Ninig or Ramah that the Ramah brings down kachnoig the Ashkenazim is at least istaper we also from Yud Shivas Tammuz, and what we from Rosh Chodesh we already asked for Kibbus, which means to wash our clothes. So on Motzei Tisha B'Av we have the iser the istaper lechabes also. And the Isra, a mimic caution. I'll read the lashon of the Shulchan with the Ramah, that what our din is on is Motzei Tisha B'Av. And there's another din that's known during the Yemei, the Yom from Rosh Chodesh of until Tisha B'Av, and that's going to be in this rachitzah. That's a din mitzad the Rishayim. Midaraisa, there is no Isra. Even with takonas. The takon of the ikar takonas of the Yemei Ben Amitzarim, the Rosh Chodesh of till Tisha B'Av, shechal was not also rachitzah. Only by the Sudamat Sekas of some Rishonim would be having isra rachitzah in the ikar the Gemara, but the minhag that the Rishonim bring down, the Rambam brings it already down, the Shulchan brings it down. We're noyig and isra from Rosh Chodesh. That's our minhag. But on Motzei Tisha B'Av, the Mechaber brings down in Siman Tov Kuf Nun Ches, the Tisha B'Av leis Erev Hitzisu Eish Behechol. The Goyim were in Bayis Rishon. It's a question if this Sidra Advarim also happened in Bayis Sheni, but definitely in Bayis Rishon. The Gemara brings down in Mesechtes Tainis Daf Chof Tesamad Alev, the Tisha B'Av leis Erev Hitzisu Eish Behechol, v'nisref Achki Yischama B'Yom Asiri, meaning it would burn from the end of Tisha B'Av, that's when it started the Eish, and it went till Yom Asiri to Shki Yisachama Yom Asiri. Bigdei kach mimik kosher. So the lashon of Mechaber is from the Rishonim, Shelo lechol basar v'shelo lishtos yayin v'leil asir v'yom asiri. The Mechaber seems to only ask of basar v'yayin from leil asir yom asiri. Stelma the Mechaber is the whole Yom Asiri. And on that, the Ramah says, "V'yesh machmir ad chatzos yom v'lo yoser." The Ramah says, "Yesh machmir ad chatzos v'lo yoser," and that's the minig. All the places we down for Ashkenazim. That definitely, it's not borrowed what the Sfadim are not, but Chatzos yom v'lo yoser. The Mishnah Berurah brings down, it's the Magen Avraham from the Marshal. Not only do we aser basar v'yayim, but we also aser, like we said, the istaper, lechabes, and rachitzah, also on Motzei Tisha B'Av, ad chatzos hayom, v'keinu minig am yisrael. Ad chatzos hayom, says the Mishnah Berurah, in Sivkot and Gimel, in the same siman, Tov Kuf Nun Ches, in Or Chaim, v'hu adin shelo royked b'merchetz, ulesaper, ulechabes ad chatzos. Those three things we don't do until chatzos. There are other things that we don't do, like I said, binyan, binyanim, livnois dvarim, tikunei dvarim. Do we also answer that on Motzei Tisha B'Av? Now, even Tvira, you're not supposed to be toifer dvarim on the 9 days. Do we also ask that Motzei Tisha B'Av? So the Maisa, I saw, and that's a very meduyik from the Divrei Truvas HaMarshal that's brought down in the Magen Avraham here in Siman Tov Kuf Nun Ches. I think Kimdumali that it's Truvas Sadi Beis, but I'm not 100% sure. But the Magen Avraham brings it down. The Truva is that he holds that he calls it Bar Mitzvah the Tisha B'Av. It's like a neighbor of Tisha B'Av. It's connected to Tisha B'Av. So just all dinim are knowing from Rosh Chodesh of. So Tisha B'Av is also knowing on Motzei Tisha B'Av until Chatzos Hayom the next day. As meikel, according to the Ramah, we should ask for not only that, but also binyan to fixing things. But I did see by Rav Moshe, it's brought down, the Rav Moshe and Shmaitzah the Moshe brings down the Tov Kuf Nun Ches that he was a matter lit for Motzei Tisha B'Av. To be told for Motzei Tisha B'Av, that Rav Moshe was matter, which is interesting. maybe that's less chomer of an iser. But the binyan daper fashions would be also, meaning it would be also the same halachas that would apply from Rosh Chodesh up to Tisha B'Av would apply on Erev Tisha B'Av till Chatzos. But in these halachas, there's an exception to the rule, and that's this year. This year and years that come out like that, when Tisha B'Av falls out on Yom Hey. Tisha B'Av falls out on Thursday, so it says in the Mishabur, this is all from the Magen Avram. Shechal Tisha B'Av b'Yom Hey, she'az Yom Asir hu Erev Shabbos, mutter b'kol zeh l'kavod Shabbos. This is mutter l'kavod Shabbos. So he's mater Yom Asiri hu Erev Shabbos, mutter b'kol zeh l'kavod Shabbos. The Mishabur doesn't medactic to tell us, is that only in the morning of Yom Shishi, that means Friday morning, say from Alois HaShachar, Netzach, or is that mutter even miyad acher Tisha B'Av? So the Shari Tshuva here brings down from the Shari Tshuva, also in the Siman Topflok Nun Ches, in the Oisalev, which is the Siman, he brings down, he does bring down this Isser, he brings down the Eli Rabbah says that it's mutter mishachris ve'elach. He uses a lot that's mutter from shachris ve'elach, that means in the morning, that's when it's mutter istaper lechabris. So some people learn that's betafka. It doesn't start the heter till the morning when the ikar zman of kavod Shabbos comes. The only problem is even in the Eli Rabbah himself, when he brings down, he references to a levush in Siman Tavkuf Nun Aleph Siv Dalet. There, levush clearly dons another shaila. There, the shaila is that it's brought down, and it's nogay also when there's a Kiddush Levana, that the Toysa says that when Tisha B'Av is chal, Yom Chamishi, Toysa is machadash is mutter l'istaper lechabes even on Yom Chamishi proper. On that, the Beis Yosef argues. Says the Levush, Eimel Chanami on the Tzoyim it's also, but after the Tzoyim is mutter. Clearly, mashma after the Tzoyim, miyad akar Tzoyim, it's mutter start doing the things that cover Shabbos. So mimela, that's the pasha mashmoi, so the Devarim from that halacha. There are others who taina miyuchad by lechabes. This I saw from Shlomo Zalman. It brought down Shemir Shabbos Kochosa Perik Mem Beis. Other it's brought down Halifa Shlomo, quoting from the Shemir Shabbos in the halachas of Tishas Hayamim in the Chelek of Moed Days, which he goes through all halach ben Matzar and Tisha B'Av. There he mentions beferish that it's also aser. It's also mutter from the night to do Kibbus. Now there's a special reason. Chazal Mesakar, one of the Takanas Ezra that the Gemara brings down in the 7th parak of Bava Kama, I think that bigdei, pay aleph bigdei. The Gemara says over there that one of the Takanas Ezra was that person should be royked is bigdei b'yom hey l'kavod Shabbos. There happens to be a machlokes the Magen Avram and Eli Rabbah how to learn that halacha. The Magen Avram learns that halacha that you're supposed to be royked dafka yom hey and not on Yom Vav, because to leave yourself time to be oisek the other asakav on Erev Shabbos. Because Man Chazal, the way they wash clothes took a long time, and if a person be oisek and washing the clothes Erev Shabbos, he wouldn't have time to be oisek in his other asakav on Erev Shabbos. So that's the Magen Avram, how he explains that halacha. The Eli Rabbah says no. You're allowed to start on Yom Hamishi, but there's no iser to be, or there's no takama not to be royked b'gadav, not to go ahead and do Kibbus b'gadim on Yom Shishi. So lefi the Eli Rabbah in Hilchos Shabbos, which is the beginning, the first sim in Hilchos Shabbos, lefi the Eli Rabbah, Einhoch, I think that's sim in Reish Mem Beis, but lefi the Eli Rabbah, it makes sense that the Eli Rabbah learns up that it's not also to do on Erev Shabbos during the day. So therefore, there's no reason to go ahead and to do it that for only the night and to be mocked in the night to do the Kibbus. But according to the Magen Avram, that you're supposed to leave yourself time to do your ikar hachanas on Erev Shabbos. And the pashtus is that Erev Shabbos starts in the morning, because that's the ikar zman of kavod Shabbos to be oisik hachanas for Shabbos. So therefore, you should do the Kibbus dafka at the night of kavod Shabbos, so you have the time to do the other tzarchei Shabbos during the day, next day. So therefore, it makes sense that Chazal was mater in this minute kosher, that there is never a minute kosher when it came to Leil Shishi, which would be Thursday night, to let you do the Kibbus. That was me, Korah. Nowadays, now that we have washing machines, B'chlal, this whole nidin of Takanas Ezra that it would be also to do on Erev Shabbos, most poskim hold is not really kayim so much, because now we have washing machines, it takes a push of a button and it's not a big deal. But al kol pamim, this is what we see from these. So there's a starker svara that you should be able to do the Kibbus on at night. The king who wrote the poster of Moshe Feinstein brought down in the Rav Shimon Eider's crunches that he wrote on the on the dinim ben Amitzarim. It's brought down in the Sefer Shmaitzes of Moshe that brings up psakim from Rav Moshe and all different types of svarim in the chelik that's in the back, where he brings down also Rav Moshe was matter with the morning, but Shlomo Zalman was matter already the night beforehand. Some say only be'es hatzarech it's mutter, but shelo be'es hatzarech not. But most poskim seem to be royked, and that's what seems to be the minig. If I remember correctly, when I was newly married and I lived in Montesurf, that was a psak that came out from Rav Scheinberg also, is that you can go ahead and be royked the begadim already from Leil Shishi, the night of Shishi. And Rosh Hashanah is royked, but most poskim, even though it's heter the Tzarech Shabbos, but once you have one bag of the Tzarech Shabbos, and the derech is normally to fill up the washing machine, then you can fill up a Shabbos begadim, even those begadim are not needed for Shabbos. That's what would be legabe the dinim Kibbus. That's a special inyan by Kibbus. What about istaper? So it would be told, some hold evenly istaper is mutter, while some hold that this svar that we said is meikel by Kibbus, because there are those who hold that Kibbus lechatchila shouldn't be doing it on Erev Shabbos. So then it must be the minig was to do datka a leil shishi at night, Thursday evening, after Tisha B'Av is over, then to push it off to Friday morning. That's by Kibbus, but like I believe istaper, better to wait to the morning, to the daytime. But again, it depends. Sometimes it's hard for a person. Sometimes the opportunity lends itself to do it at night, not the next day. You have a barber that. So most poskim are noted that if b'shas hatchak, you can even do istaper on Leil Shishi, which would be Thursday evening night. So therefore, the Shabbos, it seems to be royked poskim or royked to be meikel. And being it's only a minute kosher, it's not even a chumrah on a derabban, it's a minute kosher. In the market there are those that meikel, it's mustav to make on Kibbus, on istaper to go ahead and shave, to cut your hair, to be meikel b'shas hatzarech. What about to be royked? So most poskim hold that the rachitzah shaboy is not so good to be meikel the rachitzah, because the rachitzah that you do leil shishi on Thursday is not really a rachitzah l'kvod Shabbos. So there's not a mistaver that the minig was to allow a rachitzah on leil shishi. Mistaver that starts from the morning when people start to be royked. But when we allow you to be royked, can you be royked? I feel a loy l'kvod Shabbos. Kilos like a low pluk Chazal didn't stop the minig from the day. There is the minig not to be royked when it came to Erev Shabbos. So over here I saw the same Nisan Karelity holds that you're allowed to be royked. I feel in the morning, I feel shaloi l'kavod Shabbos. And I saw it's also brought down in the Sefer Karelai Moyed from our Septimus, that he brings down from Rabbi Yoshev, that says you can even go to the Yam to go ahead and do, it will be also a pool, a brecha, a pool, Yam, to go to the ocean, to go to a river, lake, any other thing to go ahead and to swim. If you want to swim from the morning, you can be meikel. And then I was asked by my daughter already, can she go swimming? She says that she needs to get out and be able to go swimming. So I said, yes, she can be meikel. There's enough poiskim to be soymech on, legabi this, to be meikel from the morning to also to go swimming. So that would cover us for the dinim of, we talked about Kiddush Levana, how to do it on Motzei Tisha B'Av, legabe the halachas of Kibbus, legabe istaper, and legabe dinim rachitzah. What about listening to music? So that came out, all the places say, music, there's no reason to be meikel. Again, if whatever how a person was noyeg during the Tishas Hayomim, legabe music, I didn't set up a shir how I understood what some people are meikel with a cappella, with listening without musical instruments. Some people are not meikel, but whatever music you're allowed during the 9 days, you're allowed on Motzei Tisha B'Av. What you don't allow yourself during the 9 days, you're not allowed on Motzei Tisha B'Av till Chatzos, even if it falls out on Thursday night, and even Friday morning until Chatzos, we can't go ahead and be made with the music. What about Shehec? shechiyanu, it's brought down that during the 3 weeks when the minig and Am Yisrael is not to make a shechiyanu. Why? It says a man peronis. It says a man peronis. That's how the Magen Avraham explained it. The Mishnah Berurah brings down from him in the end of Sin and Kufkuf and Aleph. The Mishnah Berurah already brings down this halacha not to make a shechiyanu during what we call the dry vok, the 3 weeks ben hamitzarim. We do not go ahead and make a shechiyanu. So the Mishnah Berurah brings it. The halacha is brought down in like I said, Kufkuf and Aleph Sif Yizayim. Toy v'lizar miloy meshachiyanu ben hamitzarim. Pri or Malbush. What about on this, on Motzei Tisha B'Av boyfriend Klali? The being Lel Shishi would not be doing. So the Shari Tshuva brings down not to go ahead and make it even on Motzei Tisha B'Av. That the Shari Tshuva brings down, I think, in the Edis and the Tov and Aleph, not to be noi to make shechal. But the Sefer Eshel Ramlof and the Buchacha brings down in the Tov and Ches that he was with the Kiddush Levi, the Levi Yitzchak Mebarditchev, and he was noyeg, yes, to make the shechiyanu on Motzei Tisha B'Av. He was noyeg, yes, to make a shechiyanu, and I saw that Shmuel Kamenetsky, Yibal L'chaim Toivim, he says that he's noted that you should be allowed to make the shechiyanu, because even though there was a Sreifas based on Mikdash that continued, but the Zman Peronis is the Ben HaMitzarim, and that's not considered to be Zman Peronis. Okay, that's pretty much the halacha Devarim that I wanted to discuss, which was Nogeya to the dinim of Motzei Tisha B'Av. What I would like to talk now a little bit Jewish and an inyan about this inyan that the Gemara says that Sreifas based on Lokeinu happened on Yud B'Av. And it's very interesting. The Gemara on Tainus Daf Choktes says on that, Rabbi Yochanan said, Ilmala Hayisa Sham. Rabbi Yochanan says, I would have been there when there would be this takana of Tisha B'Av, or Yud B'Av. He says, Ilmala Hayisa B'Oisa Dor Lo Kavata Vela Basir. I would have been conveyed not Tisha B'Av, but Basir B'Av. The reason being, the right of the hekel was nishraf then, but Rabbanan achalto de peronas adifa. The Rabbanan who opt not to do that, so the question here is exactly what was Rabbi Yochanan trying to teach us? What was he trying to tell us? Chazal was masakin. What he's trying to say, if I would be there, I would have done differently. And also, why would he do different? This was a bezdin that was gadol imenu. Hundreds of years earlier, this was in the end of Bayis Rishon, when the Churban of Bayis Rishon happened. They had this to come and they made it on Tisha B'Av. Well, what is he trying to tell us what he would do and how he would do differently? So there you marked him 2 Akdamas. The Maral in the sacred Netzach Yisrael, which talks about the Yonah of Golus L'Ula, in Parshas, where he talks about this Gemara. So he says there in Parshas, given the tfus that Yeshua Arkin printed from Machon Yisrael would be in that ratio Dalid, he explains that what type of things do we say you go basa the haschala? The haschala is a part of the ikr, because the haschala is when it's yotza lapoyo, so that's you already saw the davara, so that's going to be the zman, the chazal masak, and the avelis and the tzoin. But he says, Veloy came b'midah ha'toiva, says Amral. That's only by midah rav. But by midah ha'toiva, for example, on Purim, when they made the takana, they made the takana b'yom shenachu ben hayudim oivehem. Veloy kishet tzchilu natseach oivehem, which we call the beginning of the nachal when they're menatseach. Lefi, he says something pretty obvious. Shebahashlama hayet toiva shlema. In the hashlama, that's a toiva shlema. So in the Puranis, you go basas chala. When it starts to be yotza lapoil the ra, so that's where the ra's already nitzvahs from the beginning. That's where you go ahead and you are noiheg the yoim mar, the yoim tsar, the yoim bechi, the yoim of avelus. But then that's yoim simcha, a yoim of midah toiva. You wait till the hartava shlema that's like we're masaking the kiyomesh enachol ben hayuhudim oivehem. When they were noyach, not when they were schilul and natseach. So this is one Kiddush from the Maral. Another davar that is one of the paradoxes, one of the difficulties understanding the whole inyan in Allah Tisha B'Av. Tisha B'Av, Ein Lecha Yom Mar from Tisha B'Av. It's a Yom Bechi. We don't say Shalom. It's what we call a national day of Avelus. A Yom Le'umi almost, that would be modern day Hebrew, of Avelus. That the whole Am Yisrael is knowing Avelus. And it's today Yom Mar, Yom Tsar, Yom Bechi, with all the chumras that would be to the extreme of Avelus. On the other hand, we find it's brought down in halacha. Kol minei halachas that are brought down by the Mishabura, the Mechaber brings down. This is from the Rishonim that say this. But the Rishonim say that on Tisha B'Av, we're not noyeg to say tachanunim. On Tisha B'Av, why don't we say tachanunim? It says like this. Sorry. That on Tisha B'Av, I'm just trying to find it right now. It says on Tisha B'Av we don't say tachanunim because it's a yom of Kara Alai Moyed. Tisha B'Av is what it's called a moyed, and if it's a moyed, so on a yom moyed, it's okay. Here it is. I'm sorry. Tav Kuklun Tes Siv Dalid Ein Oimim Tachanun V'Loi Slichos. B'Tisha B'Av Ve'Ein Noivra Peneim. We don't do tachanun. Nishum Dinikri Moyed. Tisha B'Av is called moyed. There's a pasuk Karla Moyed Lishbu Bachurai. So it's referenced as a moyed. So Tisha B'Av has this paradox, this mixture between Ra and on the other hand the moyed. As a man that you're not mischanet Hashem Yisbarach. What's this inyan? That's called a moyed. A moyed is normally a moyed l'toiv. Where is the tzara toiv that it's called ikra lai moyed? Also very interesting, and this is a ha'arach hashula, that the pasuk that Chazal bring down, that the Rishonim are calling that Tisha B'Av ikra moyed, that's a pasuk that's really going on Rosh Chodesh. Rosh Chodesh of Kara lai moyed. This Bachuri is going Rosh Chodesh of. There the Gemara says Rosh Chodesh of had 2 days of Rosh Chodesh. Normally the Chodesh Tammuz is Chaser, and there's only 1 day Rosh Chodesh, but Rosh Chodesh of this year of the Chorb, it was 2 days Rosh Chodesh. They were talking about the Shana of the Meraglim, but Rosh Chodesh of had 2 days because Tammuz was a Chodesh Malay. Karalai Moed, but Karalai Moed is going on Rosh Chodesh. La B'dafta going on Tisha B'Av. So I thought to say here, to explain this inyan, is there's a very interesting Sam Sofer that's brought down in his Hagah on the Yerushalmi and Perek Daled Tainis. It's come to explain a very difficult Gemara that many Ashronim are bothered about, but I'm not going to get into the whole Arishah, but he says a Dvar Kiddush and even Nogei LaHalacha. He says that on comes Tisha B'Av, it starts already a new Chodesh, meaning up till Tisha B'Av is of, but on Tisha B'Av it already starts what we call Menachem of. It's almost a new Chodesh that starts from Tisha B'Av, but it almost includes Tisha B'Av, because he says like this, on Tisha B'Av it's Tom Avonech Bas Tzion. It ends the Avonis. Hakadosh Baruch Hu is Kiles Chamasoi Be'etzim Uva'avonim. And Mirtashem, maybe in another shir this week, I would like to talk more on that beer and the God of that inyan. But Tisha B'Av has in it the new chelik, meaning from the Yom Mar, from the Rav, Tisha B'Av starts the Nechama, because then it can start what we will call soon Yom Leisa Mashiach, then to start the Efshariyos for the Tikkun, to build back better, to create better, to the Haschala of what we'll call the Maya Shlishi. That comes from Tisha B'Av. The Tom Avonech Basiyon. Then we have the Yeshua the Menachem of. The Nechama and the Tzad HaToiv starts already from there. So therefore, it's almost that there are 2 Rosh Chodashim when it comes to Av. There's the Rosh Chodesh Av that we know as Alav Av, and there's the Rosh Chodesh of Menachem Av. And Be'emes, he passes halacha not like the Magen Avraham. The Gemara says, and the Nifsek Halacha and Shulchan Aruch, that from Rosh Chodesh Av there's a bad mazel to Yisrael, and we should not go to a din with an akum, bahadi akum. We shouldn't go to a din relating to an akum because our mazel is weak, is bad. It says that's the whole Chodesh Av. It says Mishniknas Av. The Gemara says that in reference to. But it says the Sam Sofer and his Hagoyis to Shalnark, the beginning of some Tafkuf Nemaliv. No, it's only going on up till after Tisha B'Av. Tisha B'Av, up to Tisha B'Av, Mazar. From afterwards, it starts a new Chodesh, Menachem Av. He says, definitely from Tu B'Av, which is a Yontav in itself, but even from after Tisha B'Av. Al Kol Panim, Tisha B'Av has a paradox. Not only is it have the mixture of Yomar and Moyed, but it also has within it the Inyan that's only the Menachem Av. It's almost like a new Chodesh Shechal mitoich the Tisha B'Av. So there's this paradox that we go on, the Yomar mixed together with the Nichum that comes with the Yomar. So it comes over here an interesting thing about Rabbi Yochanan. Rabbi Yochanan himself was the Molad Hayib, he's Oisador. The Gemara says in Masechus Sanhedrin, the end of the Daf and the Kufas, Sadi Zainim with Aleph, that Tona Develiyo, Shis Alpi Shona Haya Yelim. The years of the world are 6,000 years. The first 2 years are called Shnei Alofin Toyu, is the years without Torah. The next 2,000 years, Shnei Alofin Torah, that's from Avram Avinu as a Nefesh Sha'asa B'choron, and all through the Tkufas, through Bayeshemi, those are called Shnei Alofin Torah. After that's Shnei Alofin Yemois HaMashiach. Says the Marshal over there, very good, very clear. Shnei Alofin Torah ended not with Churban Bayis Mamish, but when the last remnants of the Yishuv in Eretz Yisrael was almost wiped out, and they were legamre went into Golus. And that ended with Rabbi Yochanan. And we know that Rabbi Yochanan was Choysem Talmud Yerushalmi because then was Nisrablat Saras. He understood to be Choysem, the Talmud of Talmud Yerushalmi had to be done then and there before they wiped out the Yishuv that was left. That's when it ended. The Shnei Sator with the Churban that continued until starts the Shnei Alofni Moshiach when it could come the Yeshua. Rashi explains over there on Daf Tzadi Zayin, the last Rashi on the Amid, and Daf Tzadi Zayin in Masechus Sanhedrin. The Rashi says, Shnei Alofim Shnei Samashiach, Shala'achar Shnei Alofim Torah, Havi Dinoi, what should be. The Gemara says, because of our avoinus, it got pushed up, but Havi Dinoi, Sheyava Mashiach with Tichla Malchus Harashah, that the Malchus Harashah, Malchus Edom will be destroyed, will be evaporated. V'evatul Hashibim Yisrael, or Libatul Hashibim Yisrael. So Rabbi Yochanan, I think, came from a different vantage point. He was talking, once we're in the vantage point of the Zmami Yemois Mashiach, when we have the Efsharius of the Tikkun to be Chal, we're not still being misasek with the Churban of the Torah that's taking place until the Yemois HaMashiach. But once you see for the Yemois HaMashiach, then Kilu he saw stronger the Hatava that there is in the Yom of the Tzad Moyed that there is in the Yom of Tisha B'Av. So therefore, just like the Maral tells us, the Rashaboy atchap the Paramis, the Paramis. When they come to the Yom of a Moyed, of a Simcha, of a Geula, of a Yeshua, or even of a Nechama, you go Basar when the Hatava Hashlema, not the beginning, but when it's finished, when it's totally, when we have it total. So therefore, Rabbi Yochanan said, that I'm seeing that from the vantage point of the Yemois HaMashiach, that in this Ra Yomar comes the turning point that we can head to someplace better, a tikkun that can come out from it. So I see the chelik of Tisha B'Av, the Yomoid, in a stronger way that lehepech. In my vantage point, it would be Yom Yud, because it's more the Hatava Shaboy and less the Churban Shaboy. And with that, that's what Rabbi Yochanan was trying to say. Anyways, we should all be zoicher that these Yomim of the Yemei Tisha B'Av, the Yomar, should turn into Yemei Nechama and call Mis'avol al Yishalayim zoicher v'rod b'simchasai. Have a good night.